1 shillings every day in the Kwachuma Mili promotion.
Watena wanakuendelea wanakuambia it's only 50 shillings ama each SMS costs 10 shillings or 10 bob ni pesa kidogo.
Here I'm a director of a company that has not paid taxes for over 600 million because the bank is stopping me from doing what I'm supposed to do.
The same individuals we're talking about who have in fact been successfully prosecuted in Canada were mentioned in the Panama Papers.
Sisi Neofan, we are suffering.
The DPP should also answer this question. Why is he not taking action?
The Southern Cemetery within Nairobi's Central Business District is where James Kerr Watson was buried in an unmarked grave more than 60 years ago. Watson is the man not only credited for laying the foundation stone for the construction of what we now know as Kenyatta Avenue, he's also the man who named Donholm Estate, which was back then his dairy farm. This week's episode of Area Code will be focusing on that particular estate, where we talk to the residents about the growth, metamorphosis, and indeed the change of Donholm Estate.
Old Donholm was built in the 70s, early 80s. New Donholm came in the 90s.
It's nice to be in a place where you can run across to a shopping center and buy what you want.
So do join me, Timothy Otieno, on Area Code, only on KTN News.
This is KTN News.
Such a beautiful day in Nairobi. Traffic seems to be flowing, so if you're planning to leave the house, it looks like a good time. Nevertheless, I hope you'll be streaming the show via your phone. So allow me to jump straight into press review. And with me this morning, I have Honorable Joe Mutambo. He is a former Member of Parliament for Mwingi Central. He's here this morning, and we're going to take a look at some of the stories making headlines within the local dailies, give you a reason to buy yourself a copy of the stories that you can personally read within your own time. Thank you so much, Honorable Mutambo, for being here. This is such a sad story, which we've highlighted. 5 family members killed, 5 family members from one family were hurt or succumbed rather to the accident that we saw on Wednesday. And secrets of the top witnesses in Joey and Maribe probe. And of course, yesterday, Kenya said farewell to Kikuyu musician which saw quite a number of political heavyweights attend that funeral. But first of all, let's begin with the biggest story over there, which is the 5 family members killed by a bus driver. Honorable Joe Mutambo, this is such a sad story. And the fact that 56 lives were lost. This morning, one of the questions we're asking our viewers at home is whether NTSA should be brought back on the roads, given that they were removed.
What I hate most is to discuss this matter when such a thing happens. We should be discussing these matters when nobody is dead. But unfortunately, our country, we act on crisis and we discuss matters on crisis. We never engage ourselves to see how we can forge or take our country forward in terms of development and in terms of how we can save lives. We don't engage ourselves. We only get to business when somebody loses their life.
After tragic happens.
This is quite unfortunate. And I don't know police officers, I don't traffic police officers, I don't think that matters to me. What matters to me is how can we put policies to curb these manners once and for all? Do we come up with ideas? The answer is no. We are busy politicking, doing other things, but we are not taking care of the people who vote for us. And this is an unfortunate thing for this country. And this will happen till Jesus Christ comes. I'm saying this because I know it is possible, and very possible, to operate our country with no single accident. with no single police officer on the road. It is possible. It is possible. So whenever we say NTSA or police officers or who, that is not the solution. The solution, we need to have thinkers in this country. Thinkers, people who think what needs to be done.
But we already have traffic laws and policies. The question is when it comes to implementing, or we talk big when it comes to actions. It's a different thing.
They don't work. What we need to do, we need to replace what we have with something which can work. Ask me and I'll tell you. We have seen developed world. You have been to other countries. Have you seen police officers? Have you seen traffic police officers in America?
No. It's very robotic, most of the things.
Have you seen? Why there are no more such accidents? Yes, accidents do happen.
Yes.
But not this kind of accident. Have you seen many traffic police officers in Dubai? You've been to Dubai? Have you seen? Do you know how they manage their roads? Those are the kind of things we need to bring here. What we need in this country, and I hope Uhuru Kenyatta is listening, we don't need investors in this country. We need somebody who can
invent new solutions.
Invent new solutions in this country. And once we do that, this country will grow. What we need to understand that is Kenya is a developing country. We have not developed. And Uhuru does not need political advisors. He needs development advisors.
And that's the thing, Honorable Mutambo. A lot of these politicians, from the CS to members of parliament, they have traveled to these countries. They have seen the Dubai and the London and the New York and how things operate. The thing that always boggles my mind is whether our politicians, when they see these countries, these things working in other countries, they don't have that burning desire to bring it back home for their own counties, leave alone the country, and say, why don't we not have this in Kisumu? Why don't we not have this in Mombasa? That burning desire to bring that sort of development.
Their urge to go abroad is one thing.
The urge to bring back.
No.
Oh, the per diem.
The per diem.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Yes.
We have seen why Elachi was ejected from the office.
Yeah.
Because she denied some members to go to I don't know where.
Yes.
And what were they crying for?
Because they didn't go with her.
No, per diem. Nothing else. Nobody goes out there with the urge to come out with something to implement in the country. How much money, and I'm sure you have gone through the budget policy statement. Every budget, we put a lot of money for research. What do we do with that money? What do we do with it? Why can't we replace the traffic police officers with the technology? We can do it with technology. Ask me how and I'll tell you.
Which will be a far better...
Which will be a much far better. Why do we have NCA sitting there and they have been given powers under the authority? You can come up with a solution and say, what we are going to do now, each and every vehicle will be registered, and that number plate is what you will be using to get your fuel.
All right.
And you deduct some points if that vehicle, not the driver, if that vehicle is driven in a wrong way.
And misbehaves.
And when we have and you link that smart card with a gas station or petrol station. So if your car comes in, the first thing before you key in the amount of money of fuel you are going to put, you key the number plate of that vehicle. And if you have got no points, then you don't get fuel. That is one way or the other. What you will be treated it will be told it is very expensive. I want to tell you it is not.
All right,
simple.
Let me hear the thoughts of Nick. Nick Biketi, he is a lawyer. Nick, it's good to be having you with us this morning. One of the things we're slightly talking about it because we'll still go deeper into it during weekend review. Yes. Is this sad, unfortunate story that happened on Wednesday? Who is to blame? But the first thing we're asking, especially our viewers this morning, is should NTSA be brought back on the roads? If you look at a report that was released this week, we've lost more numbers of lives this year compared to last year when NTSA was on the road.
First of all, thank you so much for welcoming to your program. Good morning, Mheshimiwa.
Good morning to you, bro.
Quite indeed, it is unfortunate, the accident that happened the other day. But this is not the first time. I've been here before and I've said the biggest problem ailing Kenyans is character.
Character.
What in the Constitution is called integrity. As much as we want to blame NTSA, but there is also responsibility that we must take as Kenyans. It is quite unfortunate that that motor vehicle was on the road. It had overloaded. We've said this time and again when Michuki was around. If a car is already full, why are you going into that car? And we're being told that there are children in that motor vehicle. So to a big extent then, we must say that even as Kenyans, we must take responsibility.
Because why do we enter a bus that is full?
Exactly. The same problem we've always had with the political leadership. Why would you vote for somebody who you know has corrupted you? It's the same character issue. The biggest problem, we've been dealing with corruption in this country. You can see when there's been consistency from the leadership, it has gone down. So in as much as NTSA has their place to play, but as Kenyans as well, it is time we start taking responsibility for our lives. It is time we start to find value in our lives and ask ourselves critical questions in every act that you're partaking. So that would be my take on this question.
And we're going to come back to that during Week in Review. And of course, we'll read some of your thoughts in regards to that. But on page 8 of the Standard newspaper this morning, as earlier said, was Kamaru's funeral, where he was finally laid to rest. The Kikuyu musician who was referred to as the king of Kikuyu pop was buried this week at the age of 79. And it's just not the funeral that everyone is talking about, but also the heavyweight in terms of politicians who were there. Of course, we saw President Uhuru Kenyatta, Honorable Raila Odinga, and Deputy President William Ruto all sharing a platform. And here's the thing, Honorable Joe Mutambo. Raila said that his relationship with Uhuru, this was of course during the burial, was not connected to the race of State House in 2022. Are Kenyans, are voters supposed to believe this new fond relationship after the handshake between Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta has nothing to do with 2022?
You know, Kenyans, we love lives. And our leaders have realized what Kenyans love most. And they're giving it to us. Tell me, what is the interest of Raila if it is not 2022? You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand where Raila is going, to understand where Raila supporters are going. Tomorrow will be treated by scenarios that Raila will say, you know, my supporters want me, what do I do? And it's the same man who is saying that he's not interested. I will not buy that crap. Raila should tell us, I want to fight for 2022. And watch this space.
His true intentions.
If Raila will be alive, he will be in the ballot 2022. Take it from me as a politician, because we interact with the politicians, we interact with the supporters, we interact with who is who in this country when it comes to matters of politics. So Raila will be in ballot 2022. And if it is not about 2022, maybe he has a desire of having someone in 2022. And that desire is connected. Ladies will tell you one thing will lead to another. You buy me a cup of coffee, tomorrow you want a date. So you want to come and join me to do something. There is a reason. Raila had all the opportunity presented to him by God since he became a politician. And he has been in this country running politics for more than several decades. And if there was anything he could have done for this country, he could have done it then. What is it that's so special he has seen this time that he wants to join hands? Remember what you need to understand. It is not the first time for Raila to do so. He has done it with Moi. He has done it with Kibaki. He is now doing it with Uhuru Kenyatta. And what is the end result?
Right. And that's the question, Nick, there. That's the billion-dollar question right there. Is Honorable Raila Odinga has had quite a heavy political career from the way Joe Mutambo has highlighted it, from the aspect of former President Moi to Kibaki and now President Uhuru Kenyatta. So are Kenyans supposed to believe that that handshake has nothing to do with him vying come 2022? More so, they were saying, he went on to say that his main mandate is to unite the country. Can't he not do that right now and for the next 4 years without having even the presidency seat, given the influence that he already has?
I think we are getting mixed in our thoughts and in this conversation of the 2022. How I look at it from where I sit is, what do we get disadvantaged as Kenyans if Raila is going to run in 2022 or not? Do we lose the value of the handshake today? My focus will be to look at what can we draw What can we take from the handshake for now? I mean, as I've said, in 2022, if Raila runs or he does not run, I'm sure he will not be the only candidate. If we don't want to vote for him, we should not just vote for him. And that will be his right to vie or not to vie. But the most critical questions that we should ask ourselves today is, now that there is that mood, I mean, we must give it to him and the president, that indeed the country has calmed down in terms of the clashes that we've seen, the turbulence that has been around. The most important thing is, let us not focus so much on Raila. There are many other things that, if this environment is as it is today, let us take advantage to settle out the other issues that can be settled out now that there's the calm.
No. Here is the point. The point is the precedence we are setting. Next 2022, I'll fight for the presidency. And if I lose, what I'll do is to get my supporters in court, Uhuru Park, pay them, cause mayhem, so that I may be called in tomorrow for another check. Right? So that is the precedence we are setting. If we really love this country, I have my supporters who adore me, who listen to me. I don't need Uhuru. I can go to Uhuru Park and tell my supporters, without Uhuru, please, this is our country. We love it. Let us put down our stones. That is the first thing I'll do. I'll respect you more than going to Jubilee and cause mayhem in Jubilee. Yes, it could be a good thing. You know, everything has got two sides. A coin has got two sides. And I have to look at it from both sides. I'm looking at this handshake from both sides. From one side, people are praising it. Yes, it is a good thing. But the question is, I wish that handshake could have been there during the first term of Uhuru Kenyatta. We could say it will live for maybe 10 years.
10 years, right.
Now, Uhuru Kenyatta will be out of office in the next 3 years' time, or 4, for that matter. What will happen with the handshake? We need to ask ourselves questions. Are we anticipating another handshake? Are we anticipating people going to the street and then having another handshake? What is this initiative, Building Bridges initiative, for? Tell me. Do we need building, just a minute, do we need, after every strategy like what has happened, create something for it? Or we should look for a sustainable situation or solution for the country.
Long term.
We need to look at long-term solution.
Something must start from somewhere, Mheshimiwa.
We have had these things before. And Kenyans will be treated into these issues. I have no problem with the handshake. They shook hands. It's a good thing to do. And I wish tomorrow somebody else could also shake hands with me. I have no problem with that.
Allow me say this.
Where is it taking us? Yes, is it long-lived or is it short-lived? It was a necessary thing to do because that's how Kenyans are thinking.
Let's hear from Nick.
Mheshimiwa, you know, the fact is, even as you're seated here, Kenyans, we are very suspicious of politicians. And I'm not surprised that you're also suspicious. It is the character of politicians to be suspicious of the other. But we cannot continuously cry of something. What happened was bad. I mean, this country was it was on the edge.
It was on a standstill.
Yeah, it was on a standstill. What Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga did was to extend the olive branch. The fact is there were issues with the election. We are talking about a handshake between the leader of Jubilee, who enjoyed the presidency, when the NASA side contested that particular election. And here they are, they say, okay, fine. In as much as we believe there were issues, we are willing to, you've talked about putting the stones down. They put their stones down and said, for the sake of the country, let's do this. Me, I'm telling Kenyans, including yourself, if you believe you're a better presidential candidate in 2022, then present yourself and you can actually, Raila's never won an election in this country. Or rather, he has won an election and never become a president. But he's still with us. So for me, this question of being suspicious and we lose the moment, these 2 or 3 years that the country is at calm, as members of parliament, you should be taking this moment like you did the other day to refuse the VAT, across board, and many other issues. I've just